Well, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Every year it's become a tradition that I invite you in. We go look around the house with Kip and me and maybe some coffee, and I talk about Christmas. Let's go do it. So you first come into my entryway, you hang up a coat, hang up your coats. I don't do that much Christmas in here. I do if I have a little painting or something like this one. I'll come up and I'll just set it here for the Christmas season, then switch it back. I like to just layer paintings or little pictures up there. The bench is just to take your shoes off, hang your coat, whatever you need. Couple little trees with a Santa, of course. I think it's the same ones I had last year. What you are gonna see this year is definitely that I don't change things every year. I don't. I did add the magnolia garland around this window this year. I only had a small amount of it, and this isn't connected to really any other part of the house, so it doesn't look weird to me to only have magnolia in here. It's faux, but I love it. And if you remember, I used this magnolia garland on my Thanksgiving table video, so it's multi-purpose. I love when decor things aren't just for one season, but for multi. So from that, you come into my living room. So this is where you're always welcomed in, where you sit down maybe before dinner, before drinks, whatever it is. And it's a cozy space. You know, all my main floor, you can really see from all parts of the floor. So from the TV room to the living room to the kitchen to the dining room, it's one big kind of flow, but it has delineated spaces, which I really like. That was important for me when I remodeled the farmhouse back in 2019, was that I did big cased openings to delineate between the rooms. So it still gave it somewhat of its original house bones, but let the flow still be good. I didn't want one complete open floor plan. I wanted it to still have somewhat, rooms by itself. So here in the living room, it's just to tell you, my Christmas is just some of my favorite things. So I didn't do as much this year maybe as other years. I didn't get out all my same stuff. I feel like, I get out what I enjoy, and then maybe the next year I'll do something different, and it makes what wasn't out the previous year more fun. I have a antique chalkware Santa. This sat in my kitchen last year, actually. And then I did do these, they're vintage looking, but they're brand new mushrooms. They're just fun. You guys, I have a mushroom love. I have no idea. There's no reason why other than I just like it. Usually in previous years, I've taken all the demijohns and glass bottles off the top, and I put lots of houses up here. I didn't this year because it just wasn't there. I didn't want to this year. Kip left a toy. A dear friend gave this to him, and he has been loving it. But it's supposed to go in his basket. He just likes to take every toy out. I do keep, you guys always ask, I keep all my cards. This is just a portion of my cards, but I try to keep them close by. So it's fun when people come over. My sister's right on top. Those are my two nieces and my nephew. You guys have sent me so many wonderful cards too. I have so many of them here, and I have another stack of them. It's fun to look through them. I have amaryllis at different parts of my house. I have multiple pots because a couple of them are to go over to my mom's, which I will take them over soon. But these are actually starting to come up. So all of them, they probably won't bloom quite at Christmas, but we're getting close. I love when I can have decor that is mixed and matched. These are vintage style polar bears, but they're brand new. They're Cody Foster, but to me they are such a great look. And then I did pair a vintage Santa with it. It's an old glass bottle. How fun is that? It looks good in here because this is where I keep all my paper mache Santas. You're gonna notice them in different spots. I, of course, am a collector. If you don't follow me for a long time, you maybe didn't know that, but I love to collect. And it just so happens that this woman right here and I have a lot in common. So I love to get out old books. So even like Martha Stewart books from Christmases, past, it's fun to have those out. They're fun to leaf through. When people come over, they can grab one. So let's go on into my TV and family room. In the TV room is a little bit more cozy. It's where I spend most evenings, obviously, watching TV, or maybe my favorite Christmas movie, White Christmas. And it's where I keep things that maybe I love to see up more close sometimes. So even, this isn't antique, but do you guys remember those Lane? Lane was a brand that was really big when I was young. This was my grandma's. She loved the Lane figurines, and I just can't part with it. I love it so much. One, because I know she loved it, but also it's just a fun style of Santa. Anyway, I paired it with some vintage style houses, but this is where I just kind of have fun in this room. So you've seen my tree. I did a video on it. It has a lot of mushrooms. It's whimsical. It's fun. Maybe next year I'll change it up. I thought about doing all vintage ornaments on it next year. We'll see. I did just corral all my Mercury Glass candy canes this year in this little, isn't that fun? This little bucket that would have been to get candy in. And I just put them all in it. One thing I know I did get a lot of questions on, and I haven't really been able to do a reel or a video, but is how when I put Christmas stuff out, do I kind of think through the process of it? These are 2 shelves that I always put quite a bit of stuff on. But I think the way I go through and think about it is I want to keep like 60%, 50 to 60% of what is usually on that shelf. And then I just fill in and take away some, but then fill in with the Christmas. So it never feels like it's completely all new. It's working into my just normal day decor. So up here are a lot of vintage style houses. Again, these are Cody Foster brand. They're not old, but they do have that look. Couple, old paper mache Santas. And then these mercury glass deer. So I've talked about these. I collect these. They're super fragile. They're German in origin. They're so fun though, just to have peeking through trees, the glass trees all over. It just kind of creates this little vignette and scene all over that I think is really fun. So I keep some of the elements that are here year round, and I think that makes it feel more lived in. It makes it feel more like it's not like just too much. It kind of is able to, I think, glue it together with your normal decor, and I find that really important. So otherwise, it's a great cozy way just to spend the holidays. I did nothing different with my stairway this year. It has the same garland, same lights, and even the same bows that it did last year because I liked it. Why switch something if you like it, right? Let's go to the dining room. So in the dining room is actually where I usually work, but it's also where Kip sleeps, and he likes a double bed. Lately he's been liking 2 beds, so I give him 2 beds. So I'll step over him. This is again, so my collection down here this is just mercury glass. So it's the hand-blown mercury glass. I love to find pieces of this. And to me, it's so fun to use at Christmas because it has that silver shiny, and it has that ability to bounce light around. So a lot of these pine cones are actually wax and they light up. So I need to probably put the battery in them. That would help. There, see how they'll light up at night, and then they'll have this beautiful just glow about them. I find that to be like so fun because look how it just glows with the mercury glass itself. I think that's really fun. And even something like, this is actually called a butler's ball. It's an antique butler's ball. You could keep it on a sideboard in a dining room where you had maybe a butler and he could watch the table behind him. Things like that. And you can even see Joel through there. Aren't you lucky? Anyway, I have preserved greens on there with it. All those little deer. Isn't it just fun? Christmas is just fun because you can do these types of things that you wouldn't usually do on a normal basis and have fun with it. You saw this tree in here too. This is my antique kugel tree this year. I changed it up, but used something I had, which was all these kugels that I usually put either in bowls or jars. I decided to enjoy them all in a tree this year. And I always put it in an antique urn, which if you watched the video and when I did this, I kind of explained that I had someone custom make, my stepdad, a fitting that fits into the cast iron urn that the tree fits into. And then I filled the urn just with pine cones just to kind of fill in the gaps. I do have presents under each tree. I usually delineate between the adult gifts, like for my mom, for my sister, brother-in-law, my stepdad, go under this tree. And then my nieces and nephew, they usually go under the family room tree. I don't know why, but that's just kind of what I do. What I'm always on the lookout for still are little glass candles like this. They're kind of hard to find. Old and new. Last year I found a couple new ones, but then these were vintage ones I found this year. So anyway, always looking, always thinking. And in that note, this is, like I said, where I work. So I'm usually sitting right here doing my posting. I'm awful actually at the posting part. The videoing, like being in a video, doing the recipe, that's fun. Doing all the work of posting it, I don't love as much, but this is where I try to make myself do it with my recipe book. On here, as a centerpiece this year, I think this is an old store display probably. It's a kugel style, but it's not a kugel. It's just a big ornament that I'm gonna guess at one time was a store display and used almost as like a kissing ball or mistletoe ball, but I have it upside down in a wreath and I just like it as a centerpiece because it kind of goes with what's on the hutch there. I think kind of all meshes together and it's just kind of fun. So this is what I'm always looking at when I'm right here in the kitchen. This is where I do my videos from. So I'm usually standing right behind this island. We set up a light up above it so it has better lighting. It sounds like you wouldn't have to, but on a video, you need to. But the kitchen is obviously where I spend so much time, not only in videos, but just in my daily life. I'm someone that isn't in the kitchen all the time. And sometimes you ask for certain angles that you don't see, so this is a great chance for you to do that. One, I always get the question, where's your fridge? Because when I'm on a video, you don't see the fridge. It's right here. It's a panel ready fridge, meaning I have pretty much my cabinetry of my cabinets over the fridge. You don't see it, so it's hidden behind them. So it has the freezers and the fridge. I do have a TV above it too, but right beside it, you usually see all this. This is my range. And then I do have nooks back in here where I put, you always wonder where I store some of this stuff. Like my oil bottles, they're back in those niches, those nooks, and certain spices. Ghee I keep up there because I use it all the time. You know, certain things like that. It's just really nice to have places, not really to hide it, but just for easy reach. I think that's super important too. Over here on this shelf, a lot of you have been asking lately, this is antique yellowware. It's usually from like the late 1800s, mid-late 1800s. Yellowware was, or brownware, but yellowware was usually called that because of the clay that was used and the origin of it, where it was made, gave it that color and that look. Beside it, you've seen, last year I used this. I had this filled, this market jar with kugels. This year I filled it with trees. I put snow in the bottom. The snow actually helps keep trees upright because the bottom of the glass isn't flat. So this snow actually is a place where I can nestle the trees into and keep them sturdy. I don't know, same beside it. I have these wonderful Bell Snickle style Santas. And then I always have some nuts out. One, I like to crack them and eat them. And I just think they look nice. It's one of my favorite things to have around. More amaryllis. These are the ones I actually potted that I wanted. The rest will be going over to Mom's, like I said. But I have them right by the window because it hopefully should help them get going a little bit quicker. Their leaves are coming out, but more importantly, their flower buds are now coming. So both of them have nice flower buds coming out. Beside there is where I keep the espresso ready to go. Quick note, what I do love is if you can find the peppermint truffles, they make the best little peppermint latte. I melt a couple of these or one of these, whatever size you want, with a shot of espresso, let that melt, and then put some steamed milk with it. It's just good. And if you really want to be a Hallmark movie, you can start with a peppermint stick. I mean, it's a little overkill, but it's good. I know you have seen this before, but it's my number one question during Christmas. This is the same faux cedar garland that is on my stairway. I use it now for a few years. It has tiny LED lights in it, which I really love the lights because they're small. I added them, it didn't come pre-lit. I think you need to have as many lights as you can at Christmas. It just makes it glow, right? And that's really important. So I always delineate my kitchen when I'm talking, or in videos usually, between two sides. I call this the cooking side, I call this the baking side. I use them interchangeably, but you don't maybe see this side as much. It's somewhat similar. These are the extra amaryllis. It's overkill right now, I know. But I do try to keep things around. So things I use all the time go in here. So this is where my avocados go so I can have them readily available. Pomegranates this time of year because I love to eat the arrows. Pears because yes, salads and whatever else. And I'm still squash. Squash doesn't go bad. I keep it and I still use it. My copper gets a little bit of a uplift with some wonderful garland. I do use battery operated lights and I hide the box in a pot up here and a bowl down here. It just works really well and it's on a timer. The sign you probably recognize from last year, never giving that up, I love it. It's a antique linen backed banner that I had framed. It's like it was made for that spot and I promise you it wasn't. And then you're probably gonna remember, this was a video or a reel I did this year too. And I often use this on my island at Christmas. It's a big old general store dome and I make a little scene under it. So it has trees, it has kind of an old sleigh, pine cones, cast iron deer. It's just a fun scene. I did quick run up to a bedroom. I don't usually show a lot of my upstairs. I've been going through it because it's gonna be remodeled finally for some electrical issues here in a month about. But I did want to show you, because some of you remembered, I got a couple of these trees back in like October, November, and I really like them. They're slim trees that work really well in a bedroom. They're like 7 foot, but super narrow. And it's usually in my bedroom where I put a lot of the ornaments, one I don't want to break, but that I really enjoy and mean a lot to me. So these are a lot of my Santa collection ornaments. So like there's little clip-on ornaments, there are hanging ones. This is one of my favorites. You can find new ones like this too, but the old ones are so hard to find. A lot of my antique mushroom ornaments are on here. There's even snowman ornaments, which are kind of creepy looking, but I still like them because I just do. So, oh, this is actually one of my favorites too. It's a parachuting Santa, and I have the original box from Marshall Fields. I I love that kind of thing. I was gonna put a star on top, but it never really fit perfectly, so I put it in the lantern for now. I'm still always collecting during the season, so these little ones I have found recently. I haven't hung them yet. This is actually a gift, and I need to put them up. Up here, I don't do too much. I did get out some of my bottle brush tree collection, some of the vintage putz houses. These are what like those big ones downstairs are modeled after, the idea of. And then even something like, this is a snowman, but it's an old candy container snowman. So they would have had candy in here for a kid at one time, which this might be the one. No, it's not. One of them has a kid's name in it, which you're like, oh, someone got rid of that. But I just think they're super fun, and they're fun to put around at things like that. You know, anything can feel Christmassy, anything that means something to you. Even like, I recently was at a thrift store and found some old from the 90s Martha magazines, the Living magazines. They're still so fun to leaf through and have so much information. I don't know, I love them. But I just had to show you a little bit of upstairs. Let's go back downstairs. We'll finish up. I had to finish with a scene by a Christmas tree because it just felt right. You know, I don't often probably get a chance in videos to say that what feels so wonderful about welcoming you into the house is that so often you guys enrich my lives with your wonderful comments, by sharing my videos, by responding, by leaving comments on videos, stories, being a part of my life, and it means a lot. So being able to share these moments with you, even being able to like come in and do a Christmas tour, it's awesome because it just means so much to know that we've built this community, that Wise Guide is bigger than just me. It's all of you too. So at Christmas especially, I truly want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and just feel like you're part of the family because that's what Christmas is about, making sure we're all part of the family. So I know Kip feels the same. He put his sweater on just for you guys. Not gonna say he loves it, but he also doesn't hate it. So that to me is a win. So I hope you have a wonderful season. I hope it's merry, I hope it's bright, but most of all, I hope it's full of good food. Maybe even some of my recipes.